Hey guys, Mason here with Mid-America Insurance Brokerage. Just want to say thanks for stopping by and watching our video, Turning 65 and Making Sense of Medicare. We're glad you're here, and hey, congratulations, you're turning 65. If you're like most people right now, I can guarantee you two things. One is your phone is absolutely ringing off the hook. You probably even thought about changing your number. And two, your mailbox is getting bombarded with all kinds of stuff from from different agents and different companies trying to explain to you Medicare and Medicare supplements. Right now, it's probably the true meaning of information overload. And if you're like most of our clients who came to us, they were screaming and just saying, "Hey, somebody make sense of this," or "Somebody help us." So what we wanted to do was make a short video that kind of cuts through all the clutter and all the fluff and gets down to just what's the basics of Medicare. And then once we get a handle on what's the basics of Medicare, then we're going to move over to a short video that just explains the basics of Medicare supplements. So let's kind of get started. But before we do, just make sure that you have, or if you haven't received it yet, you want to get a copy of your Medicare and You guidebook. Make sure that you get that copy, because we're going to reference it, and plus there's a ton of good information in there that you need to go over. All right, so with Medicare, you have what's called an open enrollment. Your open enrollment is the time that you need to get signed up. You need to contact the Social Security office. You need to call 1-800-MEDICARE or Medicare.gov. But your open enrollment is going to consist of 7 months. It's going to be the 3 months before your birth month, and then it's going to be the 3 months after your birth month. So just real quick again, 3 months before your birth month, 3 months after your birth month. This is the time period that you have to get signed up and enrolled in Medicare. I always tell people, don't put this off, because you got to remember, hey, we're dealing with the government here, and they don't tend to work at the speed of light. Also, if you miss this period, you may incur a penalty, and you could delay the coverage, the time that your coverage starts. So it's always a good idea, and we have all our clients, is to try to get signed up during that first 3 months. We kind of find out, or kind of see that it makes the process go a lot smoother once we get them signed up in that first 3 months with in the open enrollment. So Medicare is going to consist of 4 parts. All right, it's going to be your Part A, your Part B, your Part C, and Part D. All right. Again, we're going to keep this simple, kind of short and sweet and to the point. Medicare Part A. Part A is going to be your hospitalization or your inpatient treatment. I want you to think of it as any time that you actually have to stay inside the hospital. During this time, you're going to have a $1,288 deductible. Once your deductible is met, Medicare will pick up the first 60 days that you're in the hospital. So if you're in the hospital for the first 60 days, Medicare is going to take care of that. Anything from day 61 to day 90, you are going to be responsible for $322 per day of that stay. Okay, so anything after day 90, starting with day 91, you're going to then be responsible for $644 per day of a stay that's in the hospital. So let's hope you're not in the hospital for that long, but if you are, those are kind of what you would be responsible for. All right. Part B consists of, hey, your outpatient or your doctor visits. All right. You will have a $166 deductible, and again, I want you to reference or go back to your guide. Everybody has the $166 deductible. Okay, I just make that a reference or a point, but everybody has a $166 deductible. After you meet that deductible, then you and Medicare will split the cost 80-20. So they will be responsible for 80%. You will be responsible for 20%. Again, so now you have, that was your A and B. One thing to note with Medicare Part A and B, it's pretty much accepted everywhere. There is no networks or no pre-authorization. Medicare Part A and B, which is also called Original Medicare, is pretty much accepted everywhere. Part C, on the other hand, is what we call or tend to call Medicare Advantage. All right, and it's kind of just the flip side of A and B. with Medicare Advantage or Part C is basically you're electing to step outside of Medicare and let an insurance company take over your benefits, and it's kind of ran like a HMO and PPO. So you are definitely going to have to make sure that, hey, your doctor's in the network or your hospital's in the network. You're also going to have to get pre-authorization before you have any treatment done. So if you want more information on that Part C, I think Tim here at the agency, he's going to do a video on that, just explaining the difference between Medicare Supplement versus Medicare Advantage, the pros and cons. But you should be able to find that on this website too. So we got A, B, C, now D. Part D is simply the drug plan. Okay. One thing with Part D, most people take it, sign up at the time they sign up with Medicare. If you don't take your drug plan at that time, you have to realize that you may incur a penalty if you don't sign up with a drug plan right away, and that's a 1% penalty for every month that you were eligible for it, but you didn't take it, and that lasts the whole time that you do have a drug plan. So you want to ask us about that, or we'll cover that too again in another video going over strictly Part D of Medicare. So also with Part D, I want you to understand that the best way to find out or pick out the best drug plan is to gather all your medication up and call Medicare, or go to the website and actually put in your medication, and they will tell you the best drug plan for your area. Okay, depending on what the medication that you take. Just note that not all the time that the cheapest drug plan is the best drug plan. You want to make sure that, hey, the drug plan is going to cover the medication that you're taking. So here's a little tip. If you want to actually talk to somebody, call the Medicare 1-800-Medicare is open 24 hours, so they tend to not be as busy past 6 p.m. So if you want to gather all your medication and actually talk to somebody and not be on hold or get in right away, hey, try calling them after 6 p.m. and they'll be more than happy to help you. All right. The last thing I want to make sure that you understand is that with Medicare Part A and Part B, there is no stop loss or out of pocket. Okay, you could incur that $1,288 deductible multiple times. Oh, actually up to 6 times per year, and if you do, you're a really unlucky person. But I just want you to know that there is no stop loss with the Part A and Part B, and that's where some of the gaps that come in, and those are some of the gaps that could financially devastate some families. So we're going to cover that in the next video, where we cover Medicare supplements. So we'll see you there.